Hey guys, and welcome back for a new video. So, here you've seen some gameplay for the Blenheim MK4, and well, now this is the commentary, so tips on how to use it and etc. So, for starters, with the Blenheim MK4, as I said before, it has a good payload. It's reasonably fast. It's actually a good plane. And it's quite durable for it's okay. So one direct hit from guns might kill it, but might not. So yeah. So the technique in avoiding guns is speed. That's the key, and either going high and fast and not flying straight, or going low, fast, and not flying straight. But then you need to fly really irregularly if you want to avoid guns, because, for example, if you're an autopilot, they'll hit you in about maybe 10-20 seconds, maybe even less, if they're all if there's loads of guns. So yeah, or otherwise there's a third option, basically staying at the sort of in the middle range, and then being fast and swerving and avoiding guns. So yeah, so the bomber is basically, I think, in my opinion, better than a Hampton, because it's a damage model. That means that it's much more durable. And I don't know if it has more bombs. Maybe, maybe not. But I think it's just better. In terms of speed, I think. Also, you have the turrets. They're well placed, and like in the Hampton, you have a machine gun in front. You can use that machine gun for dogfighting, but what I suggest really is dogfighting, but more basically base killing. So planes that are taking off, you can try to kill them with the machine gun, but like or either kill bombers in the air, but don't try dogfighting with fighters, because most of the time they will always turn you and shoot you down. So the best is taking the turrets and trying to shoot them down. So as you see here, the guns are getting quite close to the plane, even if I'm swerving. So it doesn't mean that if you do maximum possible to avoid guns, that will work. Sometimes you may just be hit, even if you're doing that. It's really luck, but there's less chance if you use the techniques to avoid being hit by guns. And once you're behind the guns, it's better because less of them are shooting at you. Or when, for example, there are a few planes, so not only you, sometimes they might concentrate on the other plane, so you might be clear. And as you just saw, I was hit. Yeah, I wasn't really turning. I wasn't going at that fast, so that's why I was hit. And as you see, it's durable enough that, well, my plane is out of action technically, but I can still bomb a few guns and destroy them before I crash. So yeah, and I think it's a bug, but sometimes the engine just falls off the plane when you're hit. So it's quite, yeah, and yeah, and also the plane, I think, is you can turn it's quite maneuverability. It's quite easy to turn, so I would really recommend it for beginners. It might be a really good bomber like the Hampton, compared to Lancaster, who's not a very good plane for beginners, because It's it's bigger and you reach the speed limit faster, and it's quite difficult to use. Also, what as you see I used here is I used sort of dive bombing, or closer carpet bombing, instead of high bombing. But I prefer doing that because I'm not good at bombing with the aim. So for beginners, I would suggest carpet bombing, but it might be more risky. And the problem with when you bomb from a high height is that if you're on autopilot, there's more chances that you might be hit. So for beginners, I would really recommend carpet bombing. It's easier. Historic mode also is easier because realistic mode is, well, you don't have the red dot saying where the bomb will land, so it's much more difficult. And you're obliged to use aim in realistic if you want to be precise. So, yeah. Otherwise, the plane, I like a lot of the graphics. The plane they've been done quite well. I like the cabin. It's good. The only problem with the front machine gun is that if you're in first person, you can use it. But if you're in third person, you can't use it because there's no marker. So that might be a problem. Yeah, in historic mode, it's a problem. So, yeah, and yeah, and then the speed limit I think is it's too low because you reach it quite fast. You see, yeah, like I was reaching the coast, and then I got the speed limit. Um, the speed limit you don't get as fast as the HE111, where the speed limit you get to it really fast, but you get to it quite fast. So then you need to put flaps, and it's easier for turning, but you need to be careful when you bomb, and you need to turn to not a stall, because in bombers when you stall, it's most of the time you crash after that or you get hit by guns. So it's very risky. Yeah, you see here carpet bombing. Most of the time you'll be exceeding speed limit because like always like that. So yeah, that's quite a problem. So I'll let you enjoy the gameplay, and yeah, please like and subscribe if you like the channel. If you don't, it's okay, but I would really like it if you did that. I'm sorry for the long uploads. My phone broke down, and then the new one I had didn't have enough storage, so I'm on the tablet right now. But yeah, I think after this video, I'll do the video for the Lancaster. So for the people who don't know, Lancaster is a much bigger bomber. It's more complicated, so for beginners I would not recommend it, at least in first choice. And yeah, as you see here, I tried to shoot down the HE111, but I didn't really succeed. But it was hit by the ships that were just in front of Normandy beaches. Also, a tip for everyone: you need to pay attention. Close to the beaches where there's the ships, there's some balloons in the air. I would definitely not recommend going close to them because it happens to me loads of times. I just crashed into them because even if you touch the cable, your plane disintegrates. So it's very annoying, and sometimes you can't see them. So yeah, just don't go near them. And they're quite low also, and there's a lot, so it's quite risky. So yeah, and here I tried to bomb with the HE11 still pursuing me, but I succeeded because the HE111 didn't manage to shoot me down, fortunately. So I'll let you enjoy the gameplay, and I hope you enjoy the video. And yeah. Also, I might add, as to the hits, one primary hit might take it out of action, but for example, just one hit on the engine, it might either put it on fire or put it out of action, so you still can use the plane, but it would be very difficult. And if your one engine is hit, I would really advise to go back to reload and repair, because it might there's cases with planes where it just explodes, so, and then the whole plane explodes, so it's quite risky. um so yeah, and for example, one hit on the wing, either the bit might come off, or either it would be damaged. And yeah, as you see here, I got in the balloons. Fortunately, I didn't collide into one, but um really don't go in these balloons. There, it's a trap basically. And as you see, also the HE-111 has been hit by the ships. So yeah. So my thoughts about the Normandy map. It's quite a good map. Um, it's basically impossible to pass, to go to the Normandy beaches when there's a new objective, because that's when all the guns respawn, and when all the guns respawn, basically you're shot from all sides, and it's really, really difficult. It's practically impossible. So what I might advise is going on the side. So instead of going directly to the Normandy beaches in front, you go to the Normandy beaches on the side. So there are guns, and there's an airfield to bomb, and that is quite easy to bomb. So yeah, I really advise that. And when you finish bombing the airfield, if you don't have any bombs, that's probably the Blenheim MK4, so it doesn't have loads of bombs, you can refuel, and then you can sort of go where there was the airfield, but behind the airfield, and then approach the beaches, but from behind. It might take a lot of time, but there's less chance that you might be hit. So I really advise that. Also, regarding fuel, um, in this video, I didn't take. I always took like 100% fuel, but I would advise 50% is really enough. 25%, 25% is sort of risky. But for example, 50% is okay. If you're not going to do a long bomb run, it's okay. It's really gonna be really sufficient. 40, I think might be really possible. Maybe even 30, but I don't know. I never tested. But 100 is way too much, because you get hit by guns way before all your fuel runs out. So yeah, and also the plane might be less heavier, so that's quite an advantage. For beginners, the less heavier the plane is, the more mobile it is, so it's easier to dodge guns, etc., dodge airplanes. Also, I would advise, and it's quite a problem with when a plane attacks you and you're being shot by guns, the best thing would be go down, basically. Go close to the waves and try to dodge the plane. But I would not advise trying to shoot the plane, because that would mean going autopilot with the turrets. So the guns would shoot you. So it would be either you shoot down the plane, or the guns shoot you down. Or sometimes it would be the two. So yes, it's quite risky. So as you see here, if you go on the right side, then it's much easier to go to the objective and complete it, because there's less chances of being hit. But then there's a risk, because on the Normandy map there's the ME262, and it's quite fast, so sometimes they come from the side and they attack you, and it's very, very risky. And like you see here, there's a person on my side, FW194 or A4, A8, something like that. And yeah, it's gonna kill me. So you see, it has a very its guns are very powerful and destructive, but my plane didn't crash. It didn't disintegrate or break into pieces. So I think, yeah, one engine when was badly hit and just stopped working, but it still works. So the airframe is quite solid. I I've never had cases where the airframe just breaks. Most of the time it's the wings that break, or yeah. So yeah, and for even direct hit by guns on the airframe, it will just make bullet holes most of the time. It won't really it won't break into pieces and kill the whole plane. And yeah, I have a problem with my tablet each time I try to try to fight off planes when I'm in the bomber. The game bugs at the same time, so it's very difficult. But that's the thing that's not as good, and that's better on the Lancaster. The turret's only 0.3 caliber, as on the Lancaster there's 0.5, so it's better, much better for penetrating. So as you see here, I did hit the plane on the right tip of the wing, but it wasn't enough. Yeah, the FW190A, I think this one is the A8, is quite robust for a plane. So yeah, that's a problem. And I think that's all. And as you see here, I used the low and dodge technique, and as you will see, it works. So yeah.